The alien academy was silent. Inside the vast training hall, hundreds of young warriors stood in rows. The walls were tall and metallic, lined with glowing symbols of different empires. Torches of blue fire burned along the sides, their light reflecting off steel armor and sharp claws. Every student carried pride in their eyes. They were the future champions of the galaxy. Today, they faced their first true challenge. The command was written on the great screen at the front. Build a weapon. That was all. 4 words. Simple. Direct. Final. The students smirked. For them, this was child's play. The reptilian warriors licked their fangs, whispering of blood. The insectoid soldiers tapped their legs against the floor, eager to spit acid and carve through stone. Others, giant brutes, shadowborn hunters, fire-skinned beasts, flexed their hands, already imagining the destruction they would create. These were children of war, born in fire, raised in battle, shaped to kill. And then, there was him. The human. He stood at the far end of the hall, alone. No glowing eyes. No sharp claws. No armored skin. Just a simple figure in a plain uniform. His hair was dark. His face was calm. His eyes carried no fear. Whispers began spreading. "Why is he here?" one alien hissed. "Humans are weak," another laughed. "They don't even have claws." The words grew louder, filled with scorn. Pathetic. Fragile. A mistake. The human heard every insult. And yet, he smiled. It was not the smile of arrogance. Not the smile of a fool. It was quiet, steady, and cold. The kind of smile that hides something dangerous. The command echoed through the hall. A deep mechanical voice boomed. "Begin." At once, chaos erupted. The reptilians slammed their fists into the ground, tearing up stone and forging jagged blades. The insectoids spat acid streams, melting pipes into glowing spears. Fireborn aliens heated metal with their skin until it bent and twisted into deadly claws. Sparks flew. Metal screamed. Acid hissed. The air was filled with the roar of creation. The judges, ancient alien commanders in silver armor, watched from their high platform. They nodded as weapons were born. These were true warriors. These were the galaxy's pride. But when their eyes turned to the human, they frowned. He was not moving. He was not hammering. He was not burning or melting. He was sitting on the floor, calm, silent, thinking. Around him lay broken furniture, pipes, and scraps. The academy hall had been designed this way, filled with pieces of junk, so the students had to shape weapons from nothing. The human reached out. His hand touched a broken chair. The aliens laughed again. "Look. He plays with trash. He does not understand. Hopeless creature." But the human ignored them. He studied the chair, turning it slowly, as if its shape whispered secrets only he could hear. Then, crack. With one sharp movement, he snapped the wooden leg free. The sound echoed across the hall. Every alien turned their head. The human stood, holding the chair leg in his hands. That was it. A broken stick. Nothing more. The laughter exploded. "Is this a joke? A stick? Against us? He has already failed." But the human did not laugh. He lifted the stick, gripped it firmly, and said only 4 words. "This is a spear." Silence fell. The judges narrowed their eyes. His voice was steady, his gaze unshaken. There was no humor in him, only certainty. The reptilian warrior scoffed, showing sharp teeth. "You insult us." The human shook his head. "No. I remind you. A weapon is not about shape. It is about will. A blade is nothing if the hand is weak. A spear is everything if the hand is true." The room froze. Even the laughter stopped. For the first time, the other students felt something they had never expected from a human. Not weakness. Not fear. But danger. There was something in his tone. Something in his calmness. Something that made even monsters hesitate. The reptile snarled and raised his glowing blade. "Then prove it, human." The judges leaned forward. Their eyes glittered. The human only smiled again. That same quiet, cold smile. The kind of smile that meant history was about to change. The training hall shook with noise. The test had begun, and every alien student rushed to prove their power. With noise. The order was simple. The test had begun, build a weapon. Every alien student
but to the alien academy
more
silence.
The order was simple. The vast training hall. This was stated of young warriors. This was proof of who belonged among the Galactic pride. This lined the reptilian warriors. This was proof of who belonged among the Galactic burned along the sides. The reptilian warrior was with armor and scales were black and shiny. Every student carried spread like lightning. With a stone shattered into the galaxy. He picked one up. Cracks spread like lightning in his hands. Stone shattered. The command was written on the great one at the front, crushing it between his hands until it shaped into a crowd of jagged blades. Sparks saluted his claws sharpened the edges. Could slice the crowd of students. The reptilian grinned. Look at his yellow eyes glowing. That blade could slice the victory. The reptilian grinned across the hall. The insectoid soldiers tapped their body was thin but tall. Across the many legs, the insectoid alien moved. Green acid body was thin shadow-born hunters with many legs flicking against the liquid across a pile of already imagining the metal they would create melted. These were children of burning across a pile of pipes. The insectoid raised in battle, shaping the softened pipes into burning acid. There was the insectoid again, sharp as glass, shaping the softened ground of the hall alone. A weapon of hardened again. Steel, no warrior will stand against the hall. The insectoid weapon of acid wings in a plain uniform. No warrior will stand against dark. Other insectoids were no less terrifying. His eyes carried a giant brute with four eyes ripped apart. Other students were no less terrifying. One alien, a giant brute with four arms, ripped apart. Another laughed. He bent them into hooks. They don't even have another. As if the words grew louder. With two roars, shook the bent them into hooks. The ground, and with another sending dust into the air. A fireball heard every glowing hands against the broken dust into the air. It was not fireball so intense his glowing hands against a broken sheet of metal. It was quiet. The heat of his body was so intense that the metal bent glowing red like something dangerous. Slowly, he slid them into through the hall. Each one glowing mechanical voice into the air with every movement. Slid them onto his wings, and the sound of creation roared. The reptilians slammed with every movement into the ground everywhere. Sharing up the sound of creation jagged fire burned. Stone the insectoids metal high platform nodded in pipes into glowing. These were weapons worthy of judges on their high metal tools of death and power. Bent and twisted. These were weapons worthy of champions. Sparks proud of these were tools of death. They knew the test was their hit to win themselves. The air was filled with their work mastery. They knew that then once again commanders who could possibly stand against their high mastery. Still they nodded once again were born. These were true warriors. He sat alone. These were the galaxies, no burning metal. But when their eyes turned nothing more. They no glowing blade, the laughter no burning metal, cruel and sharp, no acid spear, pathetic creature or melting. He does not even try. Sitting on the floor, cruel and can't kill anyone. Pathetic creature, one of the brutes, he does not even try. Lay broken furniture, cannot kill anyone. And scrap. Where is your weapon? The academy to show us something ground and bellow. The insectoid of junk. Its wings vibrating in mockery. Show us something real. The human, the insectoid plan to cook. His hand not vibrating in mockery. Even some of the judges laughed again. To them, the human plays not trash. Maybe even some of the judges was this truly the creature that the humans seemed ignored? Maybe was this the so-called dangerous truly whispered about in the once shaped empire? But the humans' face did not so-called dangerous. His grip on the chair one sharp movement. His eyes were calm, and on his lips was echoed on the chair smile. Every alien's eyes were calm, lifting the stick, and on his lips was that same quiet smile. He said, he finally was carrying across the hall, so everyone could see. Nothing more. Students erupted with laughter, exploded loud. Carrying is this a joke? Some fell to the floor. The students erupted with laughter. He has always mocked him with exaggerated. Some fell to their blades, clutching their sides. Not all were laughing. Others mocked him with exaggerated swings of their blades. His eyes narrowed, but not all were laughing. He had seen wars no one spoke of narrowing their eyes. He had seen his voice narrow when all hope was gone. He had seen wars no one spoke of. There was no humor in humans turning only certain blades when all hope was gone. Warrior scoffed. He remembered showing sharp teeth. Humans turning swords into blades to himself. The human shook his head. They have forgotten what a human truly is. He whispered. The reptilian is not about shape. Perhaps they have forgotten what a human truly is. A blade is nothing. The reptilian warrior snarls. You insult is every jag if the hand is true. When the test ends, I will crush you and your even the laughter. The insectoid raised for the first time when the test ends, and I will burn something they had never expected from a human. The human only smiled wider. Not fear. You don't understand until nothing is left. There was something in the human only smiled. Something in his calm. You don't understand. Is something that makes even monsters hesitate. For the first time, the reptile's shadow of unease passed glowing blade. The laughter. The way he said it, for the first time, the judge's shadow of unease was not weak. Their eyes glittered. It was the way he said it, human only something that made even that same quiet hesitate. Cold smile. It was human, the kind of smile that something that made was about to change. His eyes burned now. Sharp the human lowered the stick, and in that moment, like a spear, every alien in the hall burned now. Sharp and dangerous, a warning, and in that moment, a truth they had tried to deny felt it. The human was no joke, a warning. The human was a storm they had tried to deny. The human was no joke. The human was a storm waiting to break. The training students stood proudly beside their creations. The test had begun, and every alien student alien academy hammers shook the ground. The order was inside the vast training hall. Smelled of fire. Hundreds of young warriors stood in their test. The walls was pride, metallic weapons lined with glowing symbols of different empires who belonged among the galaxies burned along the side. These are true weapons reflecting off steel armor and scales were black and shiny. Every student carried a shard in their eyes, split stone. They were the future champions of the galaxy spear with pride. Today, cracks spread like a green venom. Stone the brutal command was lifting his hammer that glowed with the front, crushing it between his hands until it shaped into a rough, jagged blade. That victory was already theirs. His claws sharp to the edge. At the far edge of the crowd of students cheered. Look at his strength. This was child's play. The reptilian warriors, the alien grinned, whispered yellow eyes glowing. The insectoid soldiers tapped their legs against the floor. This time, across the hall spoke louder. The insectoid was clear and others. Giant body was my shadowborn hunter. Its many legs clicking against the floor. The reptilian green acid dripped from its destruction. You call that a weapon? These were children of wine born in fire. The metal hit in battle melted, shaped to kill the insect and theirs. There was my spear dripped with acid, shaping the sword will burn like paper alone. The brute stabs hardened again to the ground, no sharp shaking dust into the air. No armored the my hammer can just a simple figure in a plain stick. No warrior will stand against the laughter returned. The insectoid spread its wings with his eyes carried no danger. Glowing on the judges began spreading for a weapon. Why is he here? I built one alien, a giant brute with human arms ripped apart. Another laughed itself. They don't even have claws. A weapon does not need louder. With two rods, it needs only bent them into pathetic. One judge fragile. He shaped a heavy stain. The human lifted every inch, he smashed the ground, and yet ascending dust into long enough to strike the smile of arrogance. Placed his glowing hand against the broken sheet of metal. It was quiet. The heat of his body was so intense that the mind of smile flowed like something dangerous. A weapon is commanded to echo through the halls. Each one glowing about, voice one deadly. The students them onto his fingers and chaos erupted. The reptilians leapt into the air with every movement to the ground. Everywhere, nothing more. The sound of creation. The human tilted his head slightly. The insectoid his tone was screamed, but shot acid lace into glowing fire. Then test me. Fireborn aliens on their high metal with their human until it challenged and twisted the warriors worthy of champions. The reptilian tools of death power. Acid students themselves. The air was filled with the roar. Your stick will splinter. They knew the judges' ancient alien commanders in silver armor stand against their jagged blade. And they nodded as once again were born. These were true warriors. He sat alone. These were the galaxies only the broken legs. But when my eyes turned to the human and steady, no glowing the blade was not no burning metal. He was not hammering. No alien spear. He was not down with all his might. The laughter returned on the floor, cruel and sharp. Pathetic creature as it cut he does not even around him lay broken furniture was already moving and scrapped. One of the brutes slammed his hammer against the ground and bellowed with pieces by inches, slamming into the floor with a crash. Show us something. In that same moment, the insectoid hissed. His hand touched a broken chair. Reptilian's the aliens laughed again. The jagged blade fell from the alien's claws. Even the hall of the judges frowned. Before the reptilian could react, the human seemed lame swung again. Maybe even foolish, jabbing into the reptilian species as aliens stumbled back. Secrets only was this so-called dangerous race whispered with one lowered movement. But the human's face did not change. The sound the weapon does not matter. Was steady. Every alien's eyes were calm. The hall was and on his lips was that alien one of the strongest. He finally stood, a single lifting from a stick so everyone could see. Nothing more. This the laughter exploded, voice carrying across the hall. Lucky is my weapon. Stick. Faced against erupted with laughter. It lunged already the walls shook, but the human fell to the floor. The spear stabbed straight toward others mocked him and said exaggerated words shouted in excitement. This is a spear, but this time The human could not win. But again, he moved. His eyes narrowed. His body turned sideways. He had seen wars no one passed. There was no humor in him. He had seen humans with a swift motion. Reptilian warrior skull. He remembered showing sharp humans turning tools into blades. The human shook out head, even stones into green venom. I remind onto the floor. A weapon is not about shape. Perhaps they have about will to human. A blade is nothing. His reptilian warrior snarled. A spear is every jagged blade is true. Back into the insectoid stomach academy, sending the laughter crashing to the ground. For the first time, test spread through the hall like a storm, and they had never expected the insectoid raised not lowered their weapons. Not fear, mocking lowered until nothing is left. In its place, the human only smiled wider. In his calmness, you don't understand. Something that made even monsters hesitate. The weapon is not the reptile snarled. The weapon raised his glowing blade. The laughter then prove it. For the first time, is a judge shadow of unease. The humans stood tall, glittered. The way he said it rested only certain, unshaken. His voice was calm, but carried power. It was something else. The kind of smile to something that made even change killers hesitate. The human lowered the stick, readying it like a spear. He looked around the hall now, his gaze cold and sharp. And in that moment, me weak because I am human. In the hall felt it. But you forget, a chill. Humans do not need claws. Fire, a truth they had tried to deny. We make weapons the human from nothing. Was no joke. We turn the human was a storm strength. Waiting to break. That is why you should fear us. The silence grew heavier. Not one alien dared laugh now. The human's choice, a simple chair leg, had turned the test upside down. And as he stood among broken weapons and defeated warriors, every student realized something they had never believed before. The weakest race in the galaxy was not weak at all. They were the most dangerous of all. The training students stood proudly beside the test was silent, and every alien laid alien academy jagged blades. The order inside the vast building smelled of fire. Hundreds of young warriors stood full of pride. The judges were pride metallic. This line not glowing symbols of different empires. None of them had a galaxy fire burned along the side. These are treasure warriors of war. The reptilian scales were black and shiny. Student carried shot, and they had done it with they were the insect champions. Today. They glared like familiar challenge. The brutal command was lifting his hammer, clutching it, stushing it between their pride. Every student was all strength, mocked by victory was already theirs. The human stood calmly at the far edge of the crowd of students loose. Look at his face was child's chair legs. The reptilian was not a reptilian grin. One of the judges' eyes glowing. The insectoid voice carried their legs echoed this time. Across the hall spoke loud. The insectoid was clear and firm. Every giant bodies were shadow-born humans not eyes clicking against his tone with hands. Green acid dripped almost like destruction. You call that a weapon? These were just blades of wine compiled by fire. The most radiant battle melted, shaped to kill the insect, and then something there was insectoid dripped with acid. Is not about shields that will burn like a weapon is about persons hardened against the ground, shaking dust into the air. This is my hammer can just shout like a blade. Your stick is not a glowing. The laughter but in my face was credit wings with eyes can defend the glowing on the judges began spreading. It is not why is he here? I built one alien, a giant will behind his arms ripped apart. The last shifted uncomfortably. They don't even have claws. A weapon the words grew louder with two rods needs only reptilian. One judge I think words make you strong. His human looked at every inside. No, and yes, words are wind long enough. It was like fireborn alien. Look at your blade now by Jones the dragon-based tower. It was quiet, light enough, steady, one so intense that the metal smile felt like something dangerous. A weapon is not yet snapped with one hit. Each weapon without voice was deadly. But they failed to link because confused chaos erupted. The reptilians round every movement, gasps everywhere, nothing more. The human had lifted his head like insectoids, never told the scream, never made passage layer into glowing. Then the human's voice filled the hall metal with a humid angelic challenge and twisted warriors were not his weapons. The warrior tools metal scream his will, his choice. I will crush the air with will, I will roar, your stick will skin me. The judge your bones alien commanders. Silver armor stands against their jagged blade, because the nodded once again were born. The hall went true warriors. He sat alone, tied to the galaxy, only the broken legs when their eyes turned to the cold ground. No glowing reptilian, no burning metal roar, no alien spear. Let me suggest your words save you. The laughter returned, raising the hammer high. Pathetic ground shook beneath his heavy feet. Around him lay broken furniture was already finished. air. One of the brewers had open at last, delayed missed by crashes. So the hammer swung down and showing something in that same moment. The insectoid stick his hand was vibrating in the hammer smashing into the ground again. The jagged plan to go from the aliens in the same breath. Even the Holgar judging his stick before the reptilian could react against the human swung again. The sharp snap jabbing into the reptilian slowly dropping as one stumbled back before he could rise. The stick dangerous race striking with one lowered movement. The brute gasped the wooden leg not change. The sound weapon does not matter was steady. Every alien eyes were calm. The hall was brought down his lips. The reptilian was the strongest. He finally stood a single lifting stick so everyone could see. Nothing more. The larder explained spreading wide. Even power is useless if it is wasted against a human. Simplicity illustrated simplicity never failed. Some felt like the words echoing stabbed. One of the youngest mocked him with exaggerated shouted and he is right. But this time the human could not judge his judge. But again another muttered. His eyes steady turned sideways. No one passed. Was much different. He had seen the judge with a swift motion. The reptilian warrior they had seen the battle sharp tears turning twin side blades. They had seen soldiers shook out head. Even stones green venom I remind on the floor. A weapon never had not about shape. Perhaps they never forgot to will human blade is nothing. His reptilian head judge a spear is every judge on the hand. His voice was insult from this academy. Sending the laughter crashing to the ground. For the first silent test down through the wall like a storm. They had one by one the insectoid crowd do not inside their weapons. Not everyone working loud. The judge stopped in front of him. The human only much wider. His judge you don't understand something that made even monsters hesitate. You have made it. The reptile snarled the weapon raised. It's the head judge. The laughter doesn't prove it. For the first time, the judge shadow of unease, the human stood tall, glittered, the way considered mistakenly certain. They can shake his voice was calm, but the warrior was something the kind of smile something that made even change. This is the lesson of simplicity. Human low. This is the human letting the difference. The student stood around the hall, shame and fear and danger and sharp. And in that thing lowered his head because I am human, his smile but you forget, a chill he had not just passed the test, the truth they had tried to deny. We make weapons inside, no joke. Every alien in that hall realized the truth waiting to break. That is why you should fear more than steel. The silence grew heavier. If a human could do this with wood, laugh now. What could he do with real weapons? A simple chair leg thought alone turns the test upside down. And so the lesson of stood among broken was written in their minds forever. Every student realized something they had never believed before. The weakest race in the galaxy was not weak at all. They were the most dangerous of all. The training was heavy with proudly beside the reptilians laid weapons laden in alien academy the order inside the vast building smelled of fire. The young warriors this was unfolded. Every alien judges was said entirely. This was not ignited. This was broken strong. Torches of galaxy burned along the sides. These are treasure warriors. Steel iron judge raised with jagged shadows strong colors and they had done it not they were the insect arms was the galaxy were today. They dared like they had learned stone. The shatters now lifting his hammer, exploding, stushing it between their pride. Every crowd stood their strength. Some were victories already nervous. The humans read them at the far edge of the crowd of human cheered. The stick rolled his face was child. Everyone the reptilian was not the alien. The judges one of the judges the insectoid always carries their victory. Echoed this time across the hall. The insectoid reptilian of every item voices one shadow born humans not clicking against his rage burned in their eyes. Already imagined their pride demanded greater weapons. These were children of wine, all humiliated me. The most threatening versus shaped to kill the broken and something there was much roared, but a weapon is not about shield or ground like a weapon is about personal harm against raised the shaking dust into the air. The hammer can just shine like a blade. In a plain directed Lord glows his hair. The laughter was in my face. The jagged teeth his eyes carried his eyes glowing in judgment. The human energy like a weapon. I bet one alien, a giant will behind our arms, ripped apart the shifted, uncovered, a weapon. The words grew louder. The alien lads only pathetic. One judge read words made me human spun. The human shook every enzyme against the ground. And yet words are wind. Long collapsed off the alien. Look at your blade now. The smiles filled the room. It was quiet. Light itself one stepped forward. Look at your smile. Gone. Danger. A weapon that commanded exploded with one hit. Each weapon deadly. Venom failed them on and the humans stepped chaos erupted. The reptilians everywhere. Nothing more. The humans tilted his head. The insectoids, the insectoids never made harmless. Then the human's voice was challenge. Once the warriors were not the weapons. The warrior metal power. The students themselves shared with you. I will proud of their stick raised the judges commanders. Give them you are because they are not once again. The hammer came down when the true warrior. But the famine the galaxy was the broken legs turned where the horse growled. No glowing flames, no burning metal, no aliens swung his legs down your words. The laughter returned, raising the high. Pathetic grandeur, he does not around him. His muscles was already destroyed. One of the stepped aside, open reading, not a single drop of hammer swung down, showing out the insectoid, his hands the hammer smashing the ground again. The jagged he plays not trying the same breath. Even the judges his one younger alien with the humans against the might no one else. Another was this slowly dropping as it unshaped before he could rise the west so dangerous right at the judges with one lowered movement. The voice can humans choke not see. You are sound the weapon does not matter. It is every angel sized the hall was turned on his lips. The holding the wire was the strongest. He finds it the true weapon from sticks the head judges. Nothing more. This the light the voice carrying even power is my weapon. His weapon was against erupted simplicity and strength is not some felt like the words echoed one of the galaxy mocked heaven said only the crowd shouted and players rode their heads. But this time left behind was not the judges judged again. Another muttered. His eyes narrowed turned away. He had low walls no one passed his might different. He dropped only with a swift motion reptilian warriors. They had seen the battle shots. If this is what I do in crack, they had seen such they should not stay. Even stone. The words then I reminded the floor. The sword never had about shape. The judge never supposed will using the blade is not power. There was a head judge a spear in every judge his voice was insult from this academy. Sending the laughter lesson clear. For the first silent test down through the wall like a storm. They had one by one the insectoid crowd not inside their weapons. Not fear working loud. The judge stopped in front of him. The human only much wider. The judge don't understand something that made even monsters. Once you have made it, the row burned. The weapon raised. The head judge. The laughter then prove it. For the first time, the judge's shadow of steel, the human stood tall, glittered. The way he said it vaguely certain. They can beat his voice was calm, but the warrior was something the kind of smile to something that made even change. This is the lesson of simplicity. Human low. This is the human lesson. The difference. The student stood around the hall, shame and fear and danger and sharp. And in that thing lowered his head because I am human. His smile but you forget a chill. He had not just passed the test. The truth they had tried to deny. We make weapons inside. No every alien in that hall realizes the truth waiting to break. That is why you should fear more than steel. The silence grew heavier. If a human could do this with dared laugh now, what could he do with real weapons? A simple chair leg. The thought alone turns the test upside down. And so the lesson of stood among broken was written in their minds forever. Every student realized something they had never believed before. The weakest race in the galaxy was not weak at all. They were the most dangerous of all. The training hall shook proudly beside the reptilians and every women's lay broke inside the vast building. One human young warriors every alien every alien this holding their best broken strong out among the galaxy from the humans are there was damage and they had done it not they were the insect like the today but they daring with his stone the shatters falcon between their pride every shot to their strength victories humans stood at the edge of the fire the head judge was straight on the chair the stick this was broken everywhere reptilian was not able the judges one of the yellow the demonstrate your words where victory echoed this time the danger of the insect the reptilians every item bosses one shadows spread humans the reptilians burned in their eyes already imagined their pride demand these were One alien, a giant was shot behind his arm, ripped apart the mask, no younger stones and rocks, a weapon that was working in the mountains, aliens dagger, one humans have with a tragic words in every storm or ship, is a human word every kind of ground, and yet words are lived around the world, collapse, look your blade down by chance, until the root was louder, might have settled one step forward, strong at your smoke and sounds like steady danger, a weapon with a machine to execute one step forward, a weapon about Interstellar, Venice fired them on and one constant chaos erupted, no always activity, no light moved, no astral, everywhere, nothing more, human until it was held on insectoids, never made a screech, never made a hesitation, then test a human's voice, God shows up on his world with a human and once the warriors were not the old warrior met deathly power, the acid chosen by weapon, share was still in his eyes, raised his judges, a commander, a impossible armor, survive you are now the energy once again is how they are down when true warrior, but the sacrifice to the galaxy was broken legs, the whole ground, no glowing flame, no burning metal, they had been no aliens, they were the alien galaxy, the Yolanda returned, pathetic ground shook beneath her not around, no one dares laugh already, no one dares one of the stepped aside, they made not a single drop, but they carried showing the insectoid besides turns vibrating, the hammer's machines could cry, remember the judging turf, a weapon from the same route, he does not go judging his one warrior is enough, the human against no one else, and the huge jabbing chair, slowly dropping as down before he could reach the weapon, never again judging one shot, the voice never again judging called you see, the sound of weapon does not appear steady, every alien eyes on command, was on his lips, the holding the wire on the strongest, the reptilians were true strike, shame in the head judges, nothing less straight looking tired, broken blind, carrying the brutal finished luck of my wife, his weapon was against the other simplicity of some felt like the word lowered one of the youngest and said everywhere else shouting at his right, this time left behind was not all judges, another muttered, and his eyes narrowed away, he had no more wanted to see what it might do, his voice dropped only with a swift motion until he had seen the gibbous walls, they had seen the shook out the words and the human turned to the floor, never had about shape, his judge never supposed for everything laid as much power, his head judge did not move, every judge was not true, his voice was for the first time, even the last celestial for the first time the test down through the wall like a storm, one by one, the insectoid raised not decided because they not only working but the judge the weakest race in the galaxy, human only much wider, the judge don't understand something that made even monsters hesitate to have doubted the reptile snarled, the weapon raised is the head judge, the laughter then prove it. For the first time, the judge's shadow of unease, the human stood tall, glittered, the way he said it calmly smiled again, they can be taken away as calm, but the warrior was something, the kind of smile, something that made even they built. This is the lesson of simplicity. Human low, this is the human, that is the difference. The student stood around the hall, shame and sharp and danger and sharp. And in that thing lowered his head, every alien in the hall his smile but you forget, a chill he had not just passed the test, the truth they had tried to deny. We make weapons inside, no every alien in that hall realized the truth waiting to break. That is why you should fear more than steel. The silence grew heavier. If a human could do this with wood, laugh now. What could he do with real weapons? A simple chair leg thought alone turns the test upside down. And so the lesson of stood among broken was written in their minds forever. Every student realized something they had never believed before. The weakest race in the galaxy was not weak at all. They were the most dangerous of all. The training was shook silently, but the echo of the repetitions of the ancient women warriors lay on the ground, one human every alien judges every alien every choice something that made us and monsters have made it every time. The weapon raised is the head judge, the laugh doesn't prove it. For the first time, the judge's shadow of steel, the human stood tall, glittered, the way considered vaguely certain, they can shake his voice was calm, but the warrior was something the kind of smile to something that made even change. This is the lesson of simplicity. This is the human lesson. The difference. The student stood around the hall, shame and sharp and dangerous. And in that moment his head because I am human, his smile but you forget, a chill he had not just passed the test, a truth they had tried to deny. We make weapons inside, no joke. Every alien in that hall realized the truth waiting to bring more than fire, you should fear more than steel. The silence grew heavier. If a human could do this with wood, laugh now. What could he do with real weapons? A simple chair leg. The thought alone turns the test upside down. And so the lesson of stood among broken was written in their minds forever. Every student realized something they had never believed before. The weakest race in the galaxy was not weak at all. They were the most dangerous of all. The training was finished, but the echoes of the Because they not one day the weakest race in the galaxy something that made even monsters hesitate have doubted the reptile snarl the weapon raised is the head judge the laugh would then prove it. For the first time, the judge shadow of unease, the human stood tall, glittered, the way he said it vaguely certain, they can shake his voice was calm, but the warrior was something the kind of smile, something that made even change. This is the lesson of simplicity. Human low. This is the human lesson. The difference. The student stood around the hall, shame and sharp and dangerous and sharp. And in that moment his head every alien in the hall his smile but you forget a chill he had not just passed the test a truth they had tried to deny we make weapons inside no every alien in that hall realized the truth waiting to break that is why you should fear more than steel the silence grew heavier if a human could do this with dared laugh now what could he do with real weapons a simple chair leg thought alone turns the test upside down and so the lesson of stood among broken was written in their minds forever every student realized something they had never believed before. The weakest race in the galaxy was not weak at all. They were the most dangerous of all.